Eric Moore. They just wanted to do a follow-through video after the earlier video on ERY. Now, after I sent the video, the stock did actually go down, and there for a moment looked like it was breaking down and a little bit on the scary side of a break. But what I noticed when I sent you that text message telling you to consider this a potential buy opportunity when the stock was about at $17. So about 2 hours ago it was at $17, back below where it was trading earlier in the video at about $17.50. And the reason why I thought the stock could actually find support is because based on the RSI on the hourly, and here I am using RSI setting of 21, that if you draw the line connecting the lows, the stock had actually come back to that level. Now, there's something important here I have to talk about, and it's the fact that you have to be very careful when a market comes to the end of the day, end of the hour, end of the month, because sometimes the next hour, the next day, the next week, the next month could bring completely new energies. So what the stock was doing at the lows of the day at about 1680 was the lows for the day, somewhere around there, is it was just moving underneath this line at the very last couple of minutes of the hour. And so I suspected that what it was trying to do was come back to the support line and hold. So that was my thinking, and so I thought that this is where it could bounce. It so happens that since then it's jumped from 1680 all the way to about $18 and change. So it's really come back off the lows, gaining about $1.50 intraday based on that. Now let's go to the charts, and we see that on the weekly, this is what the weekly looks like. So for the week as of right now, which this being a Monday, is up about 4% for the week. Seems like the moving averages are holding, which is very good, and also seems like we are having a crossover between the 10-week, you can say the 13-week and the 34-week moving averages. That crossover could be bullish. Okay, let's go back a couple years and see that the last time there was a bearish crossover, I would say somewhere here, or even an attempt to cross over that failed here. So previously the stock was trying to move above, with the 13-week trying to move above the 34-week and failed, 13-week moving average trying to cross above the 34-week moving average and failing. Usually you'll find that that's what the market needs, is crossover. In fact, let me show you let me digress here and go back to the Dow weekly. And you can see that on the Dow weekly, the last time we had a crossover, we had a positive crossover here between 13-week moving average moving above the 34-week moving average. You see that the market had a nice move. Another crossover took place here, which had a nice thrust. And even here, the market looked like it was going to form a bearish crossover, but it found support. The crossover didn't take place, and so the market eventually moved higher. So what I'm saying here is the possibility that this is looking like a bullish crossover on the ERY could suggest that maybe week to week it has a chance of moving higher. Of course, this is Monday, the week is not over, so we don't know how the rest of the week is gonna go. If you take a look at the daily, now we have what seems like the market did go and touch the 50-day and the 200-day. So the low for the day is 16.78, and that was where it came in contact with the 50-day and the 200-day moving average. So we have support line coming from, if you draw it like that, or also if you draw it from the previous breakpoint, as we discussed in the earlier video. Breakout here was the ideal entry level. Draw a straight line. As discussed earlier, it's found support here previously, and now seems like if it can hold above that line, then it has a chance of doing well. So the line to watch on your chart on the daily is this support line. Bouncing off that line is gonna be good. Expect an acceleration of price if the RSI moves above 50 on the daily time frame. Okay, just like there was an acceleration in price here when it moved above 50, which was this couple days up days, an acceleration of price as the stock moved above 50, which is somewhere here. So moving above 50 would actually add some percentage points to that stock. Let's go to the hourly here. And also on the hourly, which I might not have discussed in the earlier video, there was a breakout. So the RSI was moving above that line in September, which was this lows. That breakout is actually somewhere there. And we've bounced off the line here, which was this perfect entry level on an hourly chart. Here I'm using again 26 on my RSI setting. The reason why I use 26 is because it reduces the number of sell signal and buy signals. If you use 14, which is going to be the default, you find that you get too many signals. And so you can see here that the stock has been bouncing off the line here, coming back, making lower lows, bouncing off the line here, making lower lows, bouncing off the line here. So there's an argument that can be made that what the stock has been doing over the last couple of days on an hourly chart is actually find support here, improving technicals, which is stability of the RSI, while prices have been making lower lows. And if that's the case, making lower lows here with improving technicals, the suggestion here is that the market is actually showing strength in terms of internals, and more than likely over time this is good enough to generate a movement to the upside. Now I want to show you an RSI setting of 14. Right now it's at 26. Let me change it here to 14. So it's at 26 on the parameters here. Let's see whether I can get that to show. Give me a second. So 26, I'm going to change it to 14 just to see what the chart looks like after that adjustment. And you can see 14 is slightly different, but even on the 14 we can see that we are making improving RSI lows while the prices are making lower lows. So that could be a reason for the stock to move higher. The entry level was here. We can see off the lows, which is this breakout. So a breakout there, or even you can adjust this. You can see that ever since it moved above, so this is an adjustment I'm making, ever since it moved, spiked above this low, which is here, the stock has done well, hasn't come back to those lows. And you, as proof, you can see uniform activity below the line back above it is a sign of support, which is this nice entry, and it's been bouncing off the line with uniform activity. So that was this lows. It made a lower low back above the line with uniform activity there, which is this low, back above the line with uniform activity, which is this low, back above the line, which is uniform activity. And the line I'm talking about is this entry line, which again gave us the ideal entry point. So this RSI low there gave us that perfect entry, and we are using the stock's own behavior on hindsight to tell us where it could find a bounce. So when the stock came back to the lows, at the lows of the day, and I sent you that text message, it's because I could see that here, if it found support, then around 17 was an ideal place to go along. So we'll see what happens. Short term, it's going to have to contend with this declining channel here. It has to be above that if it's going to do well. It has to be trading above that declining channel where it's been finding resistance, bouncing off this until now it's above that. It needs to hold above that if it's going to do well. So I know the video is supposed to be 1 or 2 minutes long, but just wanted to show you what the chart was doing on the daily and also on the hourly to show you that this is the reason why I was still thinking that at the lows of the day, about 17, the stock was poised for a bounce. Eric Moore, the good luck, peace, and blessings. Woo!